In 2026, automating my entire life with AI doesn't mean handing my choices to a robot. It means building a calm, reliable system that captures everything I forget, sorts everything I postpone, summarizes everything I don't have time to read, and queues up the next best action so I can stay human while the busy work gets handled. And I'm going to walk you through it step by step, exactly the way you can rebuild it at home, starting with a hard truth that saves people months of frustration. You don't begin with tools, you begin with a map of your life, because if you automate chaos, you don't get freedom, you get faster chaos. So step one is defining the 5 life lanes that everything you do can be sorted into: time, calendar, reminders, routines, communication, email, messages, calls, knowledge, notes, research, learning, money, bills, expenses, purchases, and health, home, appointments, groceries, maintenance. Then you pick one single home base where every task, project, reference note, and decision ends up, because without a home base, every automation you add becomes another place you have to check. And the whole point is fewer places to check. In my system, the home base is a database-style workspace where an item can start as a messy thought and end as a scheduled, assigned, tracked outcome. And the reason a database matters is automation needs structure. A thing needs fields like status, due date, category, priority, owner, and links to related things. Otherwise, your AI can't route it consistently. Step 2 is building a universal capture layer, because the biggest leak in most people's productivity isn't planning, it's capture. Ideas get lost, tasks get remembered late, receipts vanish, and "I'll do it later" turns into "I forgot." So I make capture frictionless by creating 3 capture doors that work everywhere. 1, a one-tap quick task input, 1 sentence. 2, a quick note input, voice to text or paste. And 3, a quick file. Input, screenshots, PDFs, receipts. And every single one of those capture doors routes into one inbox table called inbox, unsorted, because you want a single funnel. On Apple devices, this is where shortcuts becomes a superpower, not because it's fancy, but because it sits on the device where life happens, and you can run actions quickly or trigger automations based on events like time of day, arriving somewhere, or opening an app. So capture becomes something you do in the moment, not something you promise yourself you'll do when you're calm. Step 3 is creating an inbox triage brain. And this is where 2026 AI changes the game compared to the old days of rule-based automation, because rules break the moment life gets messy. But AI can read messy text and still decide what it is. So every new inbox item runs through a triage step that outputs 4 fields: category, time, communication, knowledge, money, health, home; intent, schedule, reply, buy, research, do; urgency, today this; week, later; and next action, a short verb first line like call clinic, draft reply, add to shopping list, schedule follow-up, summarize article. And here's the key: I'm not letting AI decide my life, I'm letting it label my life, because labeling is cheap to correct and incredibly expensive to do manually all day. Step 4 is choosing an orchestration engine. This is the invisible layer that connects your apps so you're not copy-pasting between them forever. And in 2026, the common approach is a workflow automation platform where you can connect your email, calendar, databases, and AI models in a single pipeline, then decide exactly when it runs, instantly, hourly, daily, or triggered by an event. And you should make a simple decision upfront. Pick one platform as your main highway so you don't end up maintaining 5 different automation systems with 5 different logins and 5 different error dashboards. Step 5 is building your command center calendar. Because time is the first thing that collapses when life gets busy, and the goal isn't to schedule every second. The goal is to make sure nothing important is invisible. So I set up 3 calendar concepts. 1, hard commitments, meetings, appointments. 2, soft blocks, focus sessions, workouts, errands. And 3, auto reminders, travel time, prep time, follow-ups. Then I add an AI layer that prepares me before a commitment happens, pulling the agenda, last notes, relevant documents, and a 1-minute brief. So when I open my calendar, I don't just see where I have to be, I see what I need to do next. Step 6 is automating communication safely, because this is where most people either don't automate at all and drown, or they automate too aggressively and regret it. So the rule is, AI can summarize, draft, classify, and suggest, but sending must be approved unless it's a low-stakes, pre-approved template. And if you adopt that one rule, you'll avoid 90% of automation horror. Stories. The workflow looks like this. New email arrives, it gets summarized into 2 lines, it's classified, urgent, needs reply, read later, receipt, newsletter. If it needs a reply, AI drafts a reply in my voice and sets it as draft needs review. I review and send. This approach makes email feel like a queue of decisions, not a swamp of unread text. Step 7 is building life automations inside your home-based database so the system starts doing the repetitive admin for you. When a new task is added with schedule intent, it automatically creates a placeholder event request and asks you for 2 time windows. When a task status changes to waiting, it schedules a follow-up reminder. When a due date passes, it pings you once and then stops. No endless nagging. When a weekly review day arrives, it generates a list of open loops, things you started but didn't finish, because open loops drain attention even when you're not thinking about them. Step 8 is creating the daily AI briefing that runs whether you feel motivated or not, because consistency is the whole point of automation, and scheduled AI tasks are a clean way to do this. Every morning at a fixed time, you get a briefing that contains today's calendar, your top priorities, what you're waiting on, and a short risk list, anything time-sensitive or slipping. And every evening you get a shutdown prompt that asks, what must happen tomorrow, and what can be deleted or deferred? Because the most powerful productivity skill isn't doing more, it's deleting more. Step 9 is turning knowledge into action automatically, because most people consume information but don't convert it into outcomes. So I create a read, watch, later pipeline. Any saved article, video, PDF, or screenshot is dropped into a knowledge inbox. AI summarizes it, extracts action items and key claims, tags it by topic, and if there's something actionable like renew license, book appointment, change setting, try workflow, it becomes a task with a suggested due date. This is how you stop having a second brain that's just a warehouse and start having one that behaves like a personal operations team. Step 10 is automating money without giving up control. Every receipt I screenshot becomes an entry in an expenses table. AI reads the merchant amount and category, then it marks it needs verification, and once per week I approve the categories and export or sync them where they need to go. Bills become recurring tasks with 3 reminders, 1 early, 1 on the due date, 1 final. Then they go quiet, because automated systems that shout constantly get ignored. Step 11 is using location and device triggers to remove friction from real life. When I arrive at the grocery store, the shopping list opens automatically. When I connect to my car, a drive mode starts, navigation, audio, no distracting notifications. When I open my banking app, the system reminds me of the one thing I should do there, verify a transaction, pay a bill, move funds, because the best time to do a small action is when you're already in the context. Step 12 is agentifying the parts of life that are multi-step but repetitive, like planning a trip, scheduling appointments, comparing products, or building a weekly meal plan, and the right pattern is you give the agent the goal, you let it gather options, then it asks for confirmation at critical points. In 2026, agents are increasingly designed around this idea of planning plus tool use plus confirmation, so you can delegate the grind without delegating your judgment. Step 13 is building a maintenance layer so the system doesn't silently break, because every automation you deploy is a tiny piece of software, and software needs monitoring. So I add 3 safeguards. 1, a heartbeat log that records when each automation last ran successfully. 2, an error notification that routes failures into a fix queue, so problems become tasks, not mysteries. And 3, a kill switch that pauses all non-essential automations if something goes wrong. Step 14 is privacy and permissions, and this is where you must be disciplined. Connect only the apps you need, limit scopes where possible, and never let an automation have the ability to send messages or spend money without a confirmation step, because convenience without guardrails is how you get burned. Step 15 is the weekly review, the moment the system pays you back, because automation isn't magic if you never look at the outputs, so once per week, the system generates A, what got done, B, what didn't, C, what's overdue, D, what's waiting, E, what should be canceled, and F, 1 suggestion per life lane to reduce friction next week. And this is where the system becomes self-improving, not because it's alive, but because you keep feeding it better structure. Now, the part everybody asks, did this actually automate my entire life? The honest answer is that you never automate your entire life in a literal sense, because you are not a factory and life isn't a conveyor belt, but you can automate a massive percentage of your life's overhead, the copying, sorting, summarizing, reminding, scheduling, and preparing, and once that overhead is handled, your days feel different. You stop waking up to chaos, You stop losing tasks in your head. You stop rereading the same email thread 5 times. You stop searching for the same file repeatedly. You stop showing up unprepared, and instead you get a simple experience. Capture fast, review once, approve decisions, and move forward. And if you want to copy this exactly, don't start with 15 automations. Start with one. Build a single inbox, build a single triage workflow, and build a single daily briefing, because the fastest route to I automated my life is not complexity, it's reliability. And reliability comes from small systems that run every day, even when you're tired.